Not allowed to show Rugby World Cup stuff, so here's Lucanio. I'm scoring a try. It's relevant, I promise. Rugby! Welcome to week 79 of 53 of the group stages. Let's recap what happened last weekend and then look forward to what's going to happen this coming weekend. Uruguay versus Namibia. What a treat that first game on Wednesday was. Namibia was still searching for their first ever World Cup win, and they started like a house on fire. They went up 14-0 against Uruguay after just 12 minutes. That set up a great 70 minutes of Uruguay fighting back while taking shots throughout. The final score of 36-26, a fair outcome after multiple cards were given away by Namibia. Maybe next time, my African neighbors. Japan versus Samoa. Japan versus Samoa has taught me a harsh lesson. Never listen to pundits, podcasters, or your mates when picking for Super Brew. I had Japan by 7, but changed it to Samoa at the very last minute. And I think I'm going to have to change who all my rugby friends are as well. Anyway, Japan beat Samoa by 5 points to keep their quarterfinal hopes alive and to ensure I'll always regret the perfect weekend that got away. New Zealand, Italy. Ooh. I think it was around Wednesday last week that people were thinking that the New Zealand versus Italy game might be a tight affair. I don't know what rugby circles I'm running in. I had New Zealand by 70, and still that was disrespectful to the All Blacks. 96-17 for the men in black showed that they are a major threat to win the title despite all the Fozzie hate. Argentina versus Chile. The first match on Saturday was a chance for Los Pumas to show the world why they've won 36 out of 42 South American rugby championships. The end score of 59-5, highlighting a gulf as big as the first-class experience difference between Nico Sanchez and Rodrigo Fernandez. Names I love saying. Fiji versus Georgia. Georgia was one of the last really big obstacles between Fiji and the quarterfinals, and they certainly made Fiji work for it. They were tackling like octopuses or octopi, and their kicking game was really on song. There was only one thing for Fiji to do: activate the Botia protocol. With the help of the La Rochelle superstar, Fiji fought their way back from 9-0 down to win by 17-12 in a tight Pool C scrap. Romania versus Scotland. Please forgive me for only watching the first half of Romania versus Scotland. Nighttime baby duty is serious business, and watching Scotland put a monster score on Romania is decidedly not. That monster score was 84 points to 0, which is more than what both Ireland and South Africa managed. This means that Scotland is now the number 1 team in the world and that Ben Healy is the one true fly half. It's math. Don't fight it. Australia versus Portugal. Sunday only had 2 games, the first of which involved Australia trying to keep their slim quarterfinal and World Cup winning hopes alive. Despite some lovely running rugby and throws all around from Portugal, the Aussies did what they needed to in a closer than you would expect 34-14 win. The Wallaby discipline once again going walkabout and giving their opponents the license to entertain. South Africa versus Tonga. Ben Tamiafuna is a large man, and I'm sure this incredibly unique opinion is shared by many of the Springboks. They had the unfortunate task of trying to stop him and his incredibly large teammates from scoring during the late game on Sunday. And credit to Tonga for overcoming that defensive effort. They scored 3 tries against the Boks, something that hasn't happened to them in World Cup since... no. A very long time ago. Lucky for my sanity, the Boks have a few very large men of their own. They used them well in scoring 7 tries in a physical 49-18 victory over the men in white. That win for the defending champions ended week 4 of the group stages. The final round of matches starts this Wednesday, so get out your spreadsheets and get ready to hear the word permutations a whole lot. And how will those games go? Well, let's see. New Zealand versus Uruguay. It has been said many times, including by me, you cannot give Aaron and now Cam clean ruck ball. If Los Teros wants to keep the score below that 60-point embarrassing mark, they better get in those rucks and piss all over the walls. All Blacks by 50-ish. Le Bleu versus the Azuri. It will be interesting to see how France approach this game without Dupont. Maybe they'll be playing off 10 a little more than they usually do. And spare a thought for the poor guy who has to take Antoine's spot, because he can put in a 10 out of 10 performance and I'll still be like, who are you? Where's Antoine? France by 20. Wales versus Georgia. Wales have not beaten Georgia since November 2020. It's gotten so bad that they brought back Gatlin to try and arrest the slide. With Warren back in charge and Georgia's scrum looking a little poo-poo, Wales should be able to win this with 10 to maybe even 20 points. England versus Samoa. The Poms have already qualified for the playoffs, so I'll be interested to see what kind of team they put out. A lot of them will not have played for 3 weeks if they don't put out the God Squad, so I expect the big boys to be back. If that does happen, then I'm sorry to say that Samoa's World Cup is already over. England to win by a score that can be divided by 3. Ireland versus Scotland. Every possible result of this match and how it affects who qualifies out of Pool B has been considered this week. If Ireland win, then Ireland and the Box go through. If Scotland win and Ireland somehow gets 0, then Scotland and the Box go through. If a butterfly flaps its wings and Paul Williams predicts a draw, then a tsunami off the coast of Madagascar will get sued by the SRU. Unfortunately for this great Scottish side, the most boring outcome will probably come true. Ireland will beat them by 10 to 15 points and we'll all have to wonder what Finn and the boys could have done against teams like Wales, England or Argentina instead. C'est la vie. Japan versus Argentina. Ooh, this is a tasty little matchup to decide who gets out of Pool D with England. I am struggling to make a call about who will win, but you can be sure that I will be ignoring every other fucker who tells me to change my mind at the 11th hour. Los Pumas by 5? Tonga versus Romania. Tonga will relish running Romania ragged in their rugby match. Expect a big but not quite in the 80 score from the Islanders. Tonga by 50-ish. Fiji versus Portugal. Last but not least, Fiji take on the hard-running Portugal to see if they can qualify for the quarterfinals for the first time since 2007. Where Georgia stayed in the game with great defense and good kicking, Portugal will threaten with amazing fitness and very dangerous counter-attack rugby. Luckily, Simon and the boys have a very clear objective: win and qualify. Nothing else matters. And no, I have not missed the Aussie game this week because there isn't one. So enjoy the final round of group matches and enjoy all the weird matchups until the next World Cup. The news. Mapimpi is the latest Springbok injury to ruin my week. He got his cheekbone crushed in a tackle against Tonga, and no, I do not want to go into refereeing and yellows and reds and bans. What's done is done. The silver lining is that the Springboks finally have the opportunity to call up a specialist hooker just before all the crunch knockout. No, you dumb idiots. The Boks called up Lucanio Am, an incredibly classy player who I've never seen throw in a line out or pack down between 2 props. But what do I know? Last for this week is a little slip up from Pone Fa'amusili. Sorry. He told reporters this week that his good friend Marika Korombeti is looking to retire after this World Cup. I'm sure that's not the way one of the best wingers in the world would have wanted that news to come out. And I also have not seen any actual confirmation from him on all his socials. I guess we'll just have to keep refreshing to catch the news when it actually drops. If it actually drops. And I must now announce my retirement from this week's rugby update. I will see you all next week so we can get into the real balls of this World Cup. Bye.